right. Now it's up for swirl, let it swirl, let it swirl. Until it's 55 or 60 degrees Celsius, then you stop it. And put it up, white. Because it's simple latte, I don't transfer the milk. Do a very simple one. Fill up half cup full. First stack. Second stack. Third stack. Right, there you go.
Nice.
Okay, this is called classic stacking. So that means it's 1, 1, 2, 3, right? Call this classic stacking. So later on, I'll show you another type. Why not? I'll show you right now. So right now, I'll show you another type so you can compare. And this is with training beans. So it's not, you can drink this, but it's not that nice. Okay. This is, again, fresh milk. It looks different because this is expired milk, so just for practice purpose, it's not for drink. Okay. There you go. Swirl. We're use this. Use one stack over here. Second. Third. It is also 3 stacks to it, but it's slightly different if you compare that flow. Slightly different. So Paul, which one do you prefer? Which type do you prefer?
I think I prefer the first one.
The first one?
Yeah.
I prefer the second one because of the wrap-up effect that it has. Yeah? Yes. So these are two steps, two types of tulips. So I'll explain later. We shall end this camera over here. I'm back to the tablet right now.
So there was a quick question on the chat room. Don't know if you'd like to answer that now, Dennis.
Yeah.
So someone is asking, is there a difference technically between pouring latte art with medium and dark roast?
Medium or dark roast? What do you mean technique? Do you mean that pouring techniques?
I think that's what he means. Yeah. Is there any difference in technique?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I tried that. I tried on a medium. I tried on a light. It's just the light roast. It has a lesser contrast. It has lesser contrast. So medium roast is perfect for milk coffee. Light roast is not that good for milk coffee. Dark roast is not my preference. It's too dark, and I don't like the taste of the smoky taste. Not my preference. So a little bit of difference between these two. And the first one is 1, 2, 3. I believe that's classic. The second one is called is 1, 2, and 3. I believe this is what we call, it's our made up name, right? Because I have students asking me, I prefer this type and that type, but we don't have an official name for these tulips. So I made up the name. It's written in my book. It's called wing stack tulip, which is the second type. Yeah. So that means it's a wrap up. Let me show you. Yeah. Let me show you my tablet. Easier. I don't have the picture right now. Let me show you. Yep. This one is called wing stack tulip. I make this name up because it's easier for my students' preference. This is called classic stack tulip. A little bit different on pouring technique, as in this, we land over here, the first stack, and then the second stack from here, you have to push forward, and then third stack over here. Now for this one, you do not push, right? You just land over here, first stack, second stack at behind, and third stack from the top. So a little bit different, but when I'm trying to ask students to do it, they have totally different understanding. And this kind of things, it won't happen when I show you. It won't happen 5 minutes when I show you. It will happen when I show you after a week, probably every day you practice, probably a month, probably 2 months. If you fully understand on all the stuff, then probably you have it 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It really depends on personal absorption rate. That's how I can say. All right. So now let me make a lot of misunderstandings. I believe that if you are not barista, if you are a newbie barista, there are a lot of misunderstanding that people will say that, oh, I can make 12 stacks of tulip. I can make 10 stacks of tulip, right? So, but most importantly is the contrast. The contrast is more important. The symmetrical of the whole pattern is very important. So what do we mean contrast? It's no point that you pour 10 stacks, 8 stacks, 9 stacks, 11 stacks, 15 stacks, whatever the X number stacks of it, where you cannot count. It's very blurry. So to me, that will defeat the purpose of tulip. That will defeat the purpose of latte art. So that's why I always pour simple as possible. I don't really like to pour a lot of stacks, 8, 9, 10. That's not really my style. I used to pour 12 stacks, but right now I'm looking back at my memories, my old pictures, it's very blurry and it's very washed out. So let me show you what do I call a bad tulip, that I can pour a lot of stacks, but then it's very blurry, it's non-symmetrical. Let me show you, let me define to you what is a bad example for tulip. Yeah, let me shut this off and go to another camera.
Just before you start there, Dennis, yeah. I just want to ask, when you're talking about contrast, do you mean by like, are you specifically meaning the blending, the first part of the blending?
That's one part, yes.
Yeah,
that's one.
So I think some people may have where you say a slight confusion there. So the blending part, from my understanding, is essentially like you're making a canvas. So you're making the same color all the way before you start your latte art. So could you maybe go into a little bit of detail on the blending side and how far you would take it, and maybe when you would stop in terms of blending?
Let me grab my tools first so I can
explain. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So just now, Paul, thanks for bringing this out. Is one part of contrast. Also, the other contrast is now when we talk about contrast, we talk about the brown color and the white color, right? So it's, if let's say it's well contrast, as you mentioned, Paul, it will be brown or white. Mm-hmm. It's not brown in many shades on the cup and white, or in many shades of white also. It could be a little bit brown, a little bit of whitish, you know. So there's another part, right? So we're talking about the blending, or I call it mixing. Mm-hmm. You have to mix well. Second part is the way you pour. Is the way you pour, the amount of flow that is fast enough that generate contrast on the white color, right? So so usually what I'll do, I will have approximately around 12 cm from the coffee. From the coffee, approximately around 12 cm. 12 or 15, it's really up to you, or 10. Now, as you pour, as the cup filling up, you have to raise up a little bit, or else you just stay over here. The cup will be, I mean, the coffee will fill up until half. Then you start to have a lot of whitish foam showing up. A lot of whitish foam showing up. That means it's less contrast. So when you pour, there are a lot of white color, just like marble cake, just like those cloud on the sky, cloud in the sky. Those a lot of things that not supposed to happen, not supposed to show up, not supposed to display, but it's on your cup. So that's what we call not so contrast on latte art, right? So if you pour 12 cm away from the coffee surface, as you pour, you need to raise up a little bit. You need to raise up a little bit. You need to raise up a little bit. Now, as amateur, I would advise you to pour left and right. It's easier. You will get the job done, left and right. If you are confident, you can make it circular, it's good. But a lot of newbies, they try to be an expert. They try to be an experienced people. So they do not have confidence of controlling the flow. What they do, what's the mistakes? They try the circular, where the time they push it forward like this, they will push it forward like this. That means the milk flow will drop out a lot. That will create bubbles on top of coffee. So that's why if you left and right, it's easier for newbies. So that will generate a lot of contrast. You have to move. You have to move. But not like this. This will not have any contrast. Or not like this, but just pouring, not moving. This will not have any contrast. So have to move left and right, maybe width, then we get the job done. Cool?
Nice.
Am I getting too technical over here, or am I?
No, that's great.
I don't know. Okay, so then let me shut off this camera and I'll show you some bad examples of bad tulip scoring. Okay, I try my best to screw it up. Let me try my best. I've long time never screwed it up. All right. Yeah. USB 有没有？要靠近。 等一下啊，这个 camera
We might have a little bit of camera issues here, Dennis.
Yep. Give me a minute. Trying to solve
good.
this. Normal. Okay, let's pull it up. Oh, do you like my latte art?
Good.
Okay, let me go back and you go back. All right, let me bring my tablet and explain to you. Okay, have a look over here. So we're supposed to drink like this, right? But the latte art is facing that way. I think I did a very tremendous good job on the blending and mixing side. The color seems very even. The brown color seems very even. I think it's my natural habit, right? So second of all, let's look at the contrast. How many stacks is this actually between the first and second? I don't really know, right? So if you can have a look over here, it's not really sure whether it's not really sure what have I done over here. Yeah, but I can explain to you why is it not wrapping the way I want it to. Look at here. It's a little bit washed out. It's a lighter brown color. It's not white. It's lighter brown color over here. It's not fully white. And what we call this is the washed out. That means it's the tip, right? The tip over here is not touching or is not close enough to the coffee surface on the first stack. This will generate a washed out. Okay. So I have many stacks over here. I can't even count. I think I have many layers over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, but it's not in good contrast. It's not symmetrical. It's not symmetrical as this. And it's quite washed out at the base. And I think the mixing blending is quite well. The brown color is quite well. That's all I can say. And I think it's by nature.
So are you referring to the intensity of the white foam, Dennis?
Yes.
When you mean washed out. I see what you mean. Yes.
Yeah. So if you compare, I can't show you over here, but if you compare, it's white and brown. There's no in between. There's no shades.
Yes, yeah. I see what
it's
you
white
mean. Yeah.
And brown. There's no shades, right? Oh, my coffee, I can't drink anymore. Yeah, never mind, I'll make water. Yep. That's the one. So I always encourage people to start with not so greedy. To start with not so greedy. Even 2 stacks, even just 2 is very good. You impress me if you just do it. If you do it very well, you impress me. Right? So if you do 3, I'm impressed. And the last thing I need is a lot of stacks on a cup of coffee. And if you do it well, I'm impressed. If you do it well, even if you do it well on 2 stacks, 3 stacks, I'm very impressed. If you do it well on 12 stacks, it's very impressive, more impressive. But if you do it 12 stacks, but you can't really count, a lot of washed out, no, I don't think this is very nice, and I don't think it's good. Of course, it won't affect the taste. Latte art, it won't affect the taste. Okay, do we have questions? Can we have a Q&A session right now, Paul?
At the moment, I think maybe someone wants to ask a question. Z.
Yeah, shoot over you.
We'll see if she wants to see she wants to ask a question.
Yeah, you can catch Ziwei, you can catch the replay from YouTube. We're gonna post it in YouTube, right, John? Are we gonna post it in YouTube?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we'll post it up on social media. Yeah. Because I'm recording right now, so.
Yeah. So you can catch it back from the YouTube. Yeah, don't worry, Ziwei. Cool. Any more questions from the site?
Currently not, but I think Z's maybe asking something.
Okay, you guys, if you have questions, you can shoot down into the chat room. If you have not, then I will just keep on proceed on my talking. Yeah. Bubbles on the. Okay, first of all, bubbles is a very difficult question to answer, and the milk and the coffee play some contribution on this. Yeah. So usually, pH level of the coffee, that means acidity from the coffee. When it's too acidic, you have bubbles. Okay. Second, if the coffee is too fresh, when the coffee is too fresh, that means just roasted. When supposed to be after roasted, you're supposed to drink your coffee after roasting it 7 to 10 days, right? Then only you can consume. If you are within 7 days of grace period, you consume. Let's say you roast yesterday, you're going to use it today, then you have a lot of bubbles as well. And second of all, it's the temperature. If you steam it very hot, the temperature will, I noticed that the latte art will have a lot of bubbles immediately. Yep. And third of all, I'm using a off quality milk which expired, I think 3 weeks ago. And it's not meant for drinking. If let's say there are a lot of bubbles, it's no surprise because the quality of the milk is off, right? So I hope I did answer you. Did I answer? Or Paul, what's your take on that?
Yep. So I've just noticed that John's actually come in and mentioned about the flow rate. I was going to say something after you had a little thing, but so regarding with the new feature on Nightly, I don't know if it's been released on beta yet, but with the flow rate change, now you can change the flow rate in real time as you are steaming, and so it is on beta. And what this does in terms of the quality of the milk is that the lower flow rate, most likely due to the incorporation of less water in with the milk, causes the quality of the foam to last a lot longer. I've had coffees where I've steamed on the lowest setting. It does take a little bit longer, but the quality of the milk holds itself. But the actual bubbles eventually come up the sides. They don't come up the middle. So the foam is so tight and so thick that the foams that are released come through the sides of the thing. So it's quite interesting in, if you're steaming a lot smaller jugs, it will be a lot better
I think it's better with smaller jug and with smaller coffee drinks, milk coffee, for instance, like cortado or piccolo latte, that will help. And I think the lowest I could go, because yesterday I just adjusted into lowest unintentionally. I will figure out how come the vortex is not it's not running fast. See, so I figure out I can go lowest to 0.4.
Right. Yeah.
Mil per second, and which usually I would use 1.3 mil per second, and that's my normal thing. And I also try on 2.5. I can steam 2.5 ml with 2 servings of milk, 2 lattes at the same time. Yeah, I did that as well. So I really like this, that controllable steam pressure they just released. I really love that. So appreciate that John has put this in. I hope that it will come up stable very soon. Yeah. So do we have more questions before we proceed? Hello, Jackie. Hey. We don't have? We don't have, then can we, can I proceed?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Okay, just now we talk about the good one and the bad example. Okay, now I want to talk what have I done wrong. I don't have video over here. I wish I have. What I'll do, I'll just draw my pen. So if you have a look at just now, it's all blurred out already. So my tulip, my copy is all blurred out. So I can't really show right now. So usually if you want to pour a lot of stacks, there's a hack, there's a tip for you guys. So if you pour one stack, let me show it to you over here. You pour one stack. The first stack, let's say this cup. Let's say if you pour one stack, you have to pour a V-shaped gap. You'll pour something like this. That will wrap up your next stack in a nicer and much more balanced way. So usually people or newbie like me, I used to be like that. I did not know. I always pour like this. I do not care. I just want to pour something out. I always pour like this. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Now
so
you're supposed
one's like
to
a kidney
pour
bean
like
and one's like a circle. Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, also the third example, I also pour like this before. I don't care. I just want to pour because I was anxious. I just want to get something out. Now, what happened? I'm trying to show you. What happened if you pour like this? If you pour like this, in compare, you pour like this. Let me show you another good example. I draw it out right now. So if you pour like this, you get a second stack, a wrap up. That means your second stack will have a better wrap up, just like this. This is the way you want it, contrast. Correct? Now, what happens if let's say you pour a second stack based on this, the first stack like that? You get a unevenness of stacking. So one side is higher, another side is lower. It could be like this because the way you stack it, the first stack is uneven. It was uneven. In compare, you already open up a gate. So the foam will automatically spread out nicely, and welcome the second stack. Is that clear? Now, the next question is, how do I do this nice contrast? Why is it mine always washed out? Why is it my first stack is always washed, always no intensity? There's always lack of intensity, always pale. Why? Because tip has to touch the coffee. Right after you blend, right after the mixing, let's say you want to do 3 stacks, you mix until 30% fill or 40% fill. So that is filled up over here, right? It filled up over here so that your pitcher can go down lowest position and tip touch the surface. When you have look closest or touching the surface, then you get the best contrast. That's for solid latte art. Is that clear? So that's why I always transfer. This is 400 mil. Am I right, Paul? Is this 400 or 350?
350, I think, yeah.
350. Oh, 400 I was stated over here.
Oh, right on the top.
Yeah, right on top. Yeah, it's 400. I always switch it into 600. Because why? Say this 600. Let's say this 600. This 600 indeed. Yeah. Because why? Because I can lower down. If I pour, let's say I pour a liquid volume over here. Let's say it's 170 ml, right? 170 ml over here. 170 ml like this. If I pour, I can go lower. I can go lower like this before the milk coming out. Right, this angle. Let's say I dump this 170 ml of milk. The volume is like this. Let's say the volume is like this. I can go way lower in compare of this one like this. I can pour more stacks with this one. Definitely, I can pour lesser stacks with this one. That's why I change, I transfer. But in commercial sense, it doesn't make sense at all. Because slow down your procedure, slow down your time, slow down your pace. But it's just for, I believe most of decent users are home users. You have all the time that you want for a nice coffee. Right? Yes, this is 600 ml, but in the market, they have 500, they have 600, they have 650 as well. I have the biggest one is 1 liter. One of my favorites, well, the Starbucks style bucket feature. Okay.
So Dennis, is obviously we're putting the importance on making sure the spout of the milk jug is as close to the coffee service as possible. Yep. Now, does this have to also match the pace at which you're pouring as well? Like, yes. For example, like a problem I personally have is not necessarily the first stack, but the second stack. And my problem will be that maybe half the time I will get a big blob. And I'm putting that down to perhaps my jug is closer to the surface because there's more volume of coffee. But I can't quite understand what is happening in my technique to sort of maybe reduce or make that second stack more delicate. Do you kind of know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you mean blob is like this?
Yes, on the second stack, sometimes my blob is like the third one. Yeah.
Okay. Now, pardon me. Let me further elaborate on this. How do I make this? All right.
Sure.
Me. Thanks for bringing this up. I forgot to bring this and further elaborate on this.
No, it's all good.
Okay. Now, simple. Let's say this is the surface, right? Let's say this is the surface. Let me bring something easier to more contrast. Let's say this is the surface on the side view, right? Usually, I always suggest that to pour this way. If you can touch, it's good. If you can't, go closest if you could. Now, if you want to make a V-shaped gap, we call this V-shaped gap. It's like a V, right in the gate, right at the gate. It's like a V. If you have a V, it's good. That's the best. If you're not, make a little heart shape is good. So what you need to do, you need to touch down and pour, and then tilt a little bit, move forward. You have to move forward. You have to tilt a little bit and move forward. It has water inside, I'm sorry. You have to touch over here, right? And then pour out and move forward, tilt a little bit. Now, most of people, they are struggling on pouring Tulip. What they do, they always do like this. They pour out, then they let go. They pour out, they let go. They retreat. They retreat. They pour out, then they retreat. That's a really wrong way to go. That's why it's blocked. Because they retreat. They move backward. So if you want to have this nice wrapping up, go down, pour, and tilt a little bit and move forward. Take your time. Take your time. You don't have to be anxious. I used to be very anxious. I want to pour 12 stacks. I want to pour 15 stacks. That's not the way to go. 2 stacks. If you can, go further. 3 stacks, 4 stacks, 5. The most importantly is the latte art, the whole symmetrical, and contrast. Cool. Did I answer you?
Yeah. It's a very subtle thing to add in. But yes, I'll be trying that.
Also, there's one more tip. You have to pour fast.
Yeah.
But not too fast. But not too fast. Let me further elaborate on this as well. If you pour just nice, you need to have this. Because when you pour on the top view, you need to have this round shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Need round. If you pour too fast, you messed up. That's why everything is runny if you pour too fast. This is what happens. This is the thing that we do not need. This is the thing that we do not need when you pour too fast. When you pour too slow, there are many students ask me, how come my heart shape, how come my tulip is too small, so small? When you pour too slow, this is what happens. Your tulip will never grow in size. Right? Cool?
Yeah.
Now, this is correlate with the spout, the picture that you're using. There are two pictures, two types over here. Which one is more rounded, Paul?
I'd say the one on the right. Yeah, your left. Yeah.
The silver one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This will pour a very nice tulip. Effortless. Everything wraps up very nice. Effortless. But you can't really pour on other pattern. In contrast of this one, this, because you pour out a very thin stream, very thin. That's why if you pour thin, it's good for complex latte art, but you can't make a wrap-up effect, a big, huge, round effect on tulip. Can't. I always pour a very small tulip with this one, and I'm okay with that. Because no matter how fast I pour, this will limit you, the stream, into a very thin stream. If compared with this one, always everything is fast. Everything is fast. You can't control it slow. You can't. This, you can control it even slower. You can't go fast. This, you can go fast, but you cannot go slow. Because everything is fast when you pour out from this kind of spot. Okay? Am I confused? Am I confusing?
No, I think it's good. So when you say pouring out fast, you're referring to the flow rate of the milk.
The flow rate.
Yeah.
The flow rate.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, but even the regular tip will do.
Mm.
Regular one will do. For example, yeah, something like this. Yeah, this regular, this right away. This will make a very good latte art, very good tulip. I think over here in Malaysia, this is the most generic one, right away. Most common use. Cool.
Yeah. Someone's got a question about why we transfer into the 600 after we, steam in the smaller jug.
Yeah. Just now I just explained this, I think 10 minutes ago. Perhaps you can catch the replay from YouTube. So sorry that I wanted to proceed. If you have any other question that I have not explained, please ask me, please shoot me. And that question have answered just now, 10 minutes ago. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So we shall proceed, yeah? So another thing that you guys need to be aware of, I always use, I like and I love ceramic cup with latte art. I love ceramic cup. I'm not really into glass as in cortado. In terms of latte art, I'm not really into a handleless cup, right? A glass, handleless glass. Not really into it because this play a very important role in terms of reminding you where you're at. Now, just now, I've mentioned and I've shown you the words that I poured just now. It was washed out on the base. Remember? Or the base was washed out. Yeah, yeah. So the reason why I told you is because you're too far ahead, too far away, right? When you're too far away, when you pour like this, everything is washed out. You have slightly little bit of white color, but it's translucent. It's washed out because you're too far away. Cool? Get me? Now, second thing, why I'm bringing this up, this ear over here, we pour latte art, do not go further away from this line. This is off limit. This is off limit. Because why? Probably you can do with this one, but definitely you can't do this one. Can't do this one. All right, let's say you go backward, you start your first stacking. Now you see when you go backward, you're leaving too much space between the tip and the coffee. If you go lower, you get more space in between. You get closer, the surface and the tip and the surface. Does that make sense? Definitely closer over here, right? Yeah. Definitely closer over here. But if you start your first stack, let's say you want to make 12 stacks of tulip, you start from here, it's definitely not the way to go. It's a big no-no, because you start from here, which is away from the cup line, the ear line. If you start from here, the first stack, you have a lot of distance between the spout and the surface. Can't see it right now, right? So it's a good thing that John just sent me a transparent glass. Let me get that to you. I just received this from John yesterday. I just received this postage. Give me 5 minutes to try to look that for you.
So while you're getting that glass, Dennis, I just remind
this one.
So you're using the ear as a reference point, right? To where to pour from?
As a reference point. Yeah. I'm talking about this is, I think this is 6 ounce. It is 8 ounce or 9 ounce. No mistake. I haven't measured yet. It's a huge cup. Okay. Now, Brown. Just now we were talking about if you go nearer to the lip, you get closer. All right. Let's pretend it's this the water line over here. Get closer. The closest you get better contrast for tulip solid latte art, right? Closer. Now, a lot of people, they try and do 12 stacks, 15 stacks. They're going to start off over here. You see this? The line is right over here because it's blocking from the neck of the picture. So that's why you start off over here, you pour out, the distance and the coffee is too far. That's the reason why the bottom got washed out. The bottom was not well in contrast. It has a lot of shades of white color, a lot of shades in brown color as well. You know what I mean? So you should pour this line beyond is off limit. You have to pour from here. This line and beyond is off limit. Unless you have a very big picture that can lower down without any blockage, you can go down. That's pretty good. But you have a normal pitcher, which is 400 ml, you can't, because the thing is, it's either it spills or it's not. You can't lower down anymore. When you lower down a little bit more, start pouring. When you start pouring that, that's the thing that a lot of washed out latte art to come up on the first stack, or the first few stacks, I would say. Cool?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that confusing?
No, I think that was quite clear.
Okay.
I think where some people may get confused if they're using different jugs, obviously the clearance of the back of the jug. So I think the takeaway is, as you say, the contrast of the white. If it is becoming more sort of brown colored, then you could get closer. Yeah. If it is intense white, then you're doing a good job.
Yep. That's what we need. That's what we need. We try not to have a very weak white color that is translucent. That shows a lot of a technique and experience that you have. Yeah. So that's the thing. And just as I mentioned, it's very important if you want to have a nice wrap up on each stack. Nice contrast is very important as well. Then you need to pull a V-shaped gap just like this. If you will go and watch my IGs, my Instagram videos that I pull latte art, I always do this. Go replay it. I always do this. If you ever notice, yeah. Is that clear? No questions so far. Now it's Q&A session for Tulip.
I think maybe everyone's holding out to maybe come on camera, right?
All right. I think it's a bit too late. Okay. I stated in Basecamp, whoever want to seek for advice, you want to pour in front of me. Anyone who wants to pour in front of me and seek for advice for Chris Tulip? Anyone here? Shy, everyone? Okay. Oh, okay. Never mind. If that's the case, I shall demonstrate one more time. So right now, you guys have a better idea. I shall demonstrate one more time of the classic stacking tulip. What do you say, Paul? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So I shut this down. I go to DSLR camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Problem camera?
Yeah.
Okay. Camera on.
Oh, I can see.
Okay. So, right, pay attention, everyone. First stack, B. Second stack, B. Third stack. Just like that.
All right, let me show you. Yep. That's the way. Remember to create each stack with the V-shaped gap, small heart shape on each stack, yeah, before you proceed for the next one. So you go forward, you do not, when you lift up a little bit, go forward, yeah? Do not retreat, do not reverse backward. So
it was a
if
very
you retreat
subtle
backward,
movement, Dennis.
you will not have this, yeah. Cool. Okay, any question? A Q&A right now?
No, it's pretty quiet today.
All right, so I hope they pay attention though. Okay, it's either it's too confusing or is it anyone wants to demonstrate? Anyone wants to show me that Tulip, see for advice? If no, then we shall proceed. Cool, all right. Now the next one I would like to demonstrate is called wiggle. Yeah, a lot of people been very eager, very curious to how do you make so much of lines and how do you wiggle it, right? So let me show to you what is wiggle first, then we can talk further and explain further, right? So I'll shut this down. I'll make another cup of coffee. I'll show you how to wiggle, show you the latte art of wiggle, nice contrast wiggle, and then I'll come back and explain further. Okay? Give me a minute.
All right. Hey, Dennis. I think John's asking if we can steam a jug with slow flow rate, and then maybe compare it to one with a fast flow rate and see how the quality of the foam lasts on each one.
Okay, let me try with the slowest one. Yeah. Currently, the steam is around 1.0. Let me try with 0.5. Okay.
So if everyone can see that, Dennis is moving the real-time slider on the DE1 app. So he's just changed the flow rate right immediately.
Right. Okay, pay attention. Okay, there you go.
That's beautiful, Dennis.
Oh yeah, that's Paul. This is what I'm doing for a living.
Living the dream. And so this was the one with the low flow rate, right? So we'll come back to that in a moment, and we'll see how the surface looks.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna show it to you. Okay, this is 0.5. I steam with 0.5, but bear in your mind, this was off quality milk, right? Someone gave it to me because right now, distributor supplier, they can't finish selling it. They start giving out to customers. Okay, so 0.5 mil, this was steamed in 1.0. Okay, so you can count every lines of this. This is what I call a very good contrast of the wiggle. This okay. The name of this is called wing heart. That means it has wings as a heart on top. Okay, all right. This technique is called wiggle. That means I wiggle along the way, then lift up and do a heart shape on top. Yeah. Yeah. So memorize this. If you can screenshot everyone if you want to. Okay. Okay, coming back to seat over here. Okay. Before that, do you guys have any question on wiggle heart? You want to know how I practice? Do you want to know how, what's the tips? What's the hack? Okay, no question, yeah? Don't know which to ask. Okay, cool. It's fine. First of all, just now you saw the lines are very thick. It's because I was using a round spout. I was using this, pouring out a fat line and creating a good contrast. Yeah, I was using this. So if I use decent, I still can get the job done, but it's different style. It's much more in layers. It's much more thinner lines. So it's different. It looks a little bit different. Yeah. So if you pay attention, the lines does not pour out. It was fat. It was thick. It was big contrast. So I was using this. Okay. Many people are asking me how come my wiggle is always not in good contrast. Why is it? It's blurry. Why is it this and that? And let me further elaborate what's going on. So this morning, just now, we were talking about Tulip. We were talking about Tulip. We were talking about solid latte art. There's no lines. They are just stacks of latte art. Cool. So right now, I'm about to explain lines, fine line latte art. Fine line latte art is the latte art has a lot of lines in it and symmetrical and evenly is in contrast. So in this type, it's called fine line latte art. Now, if you fine line latte art, just now, what I taught you this morning is to touch it or go closest. There was Tulip, there was solid latte art. If you want to have a fine line, if you want to make a rosetta, if you want to make a wing tulip, if you want to make a wing heart, you want to generate a lot of lines. You cannot touch it. You can't. You have to leave some space. You have to leave some space, approximately 0.5 mm, and wiggle it. That's number one. Now, if you touch down and try to wiggle it, no lines will come out. There will be no lines. If you touch down and wiggle it, there will be nothing comes out. There are a lot of blobs coming out, but eventually you end up still making 2 stacks of solid latte art. There's no lines. So if you want to have line, first of all, this have to leave the coffee surface 0.5 mm. That's number one. Number two, the way you hold a picture, the way you wiggle. Now, for instance, how I practice with a metronome. Oh, do you know what's metronome?
Yeah, so with the music, keep the tempo, so it goes.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. So I use metronome. I'm not sure whether I still have it over here. So that means if you practice some musical instruments, if you practice violin, if you practice piano, you have this. Right? right? This, yeah. So you increase more. It's stated over here 150. So that means it's 150 beats per minute. So it's tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 150 times in a minute. So what I did just now, I wiggle, I always practice wiggle. What I did just now, I think I was doing 155. So let's start playing the metronome. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's not that fast. It's not that fast. So most of people, they were trying to wiggle like this. It's not that fast. That's the tempo I'm talking about, yeah? The tempo, yeah? 155, a bit faster. 165, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's not that fast. It's not that as fast as this one. If you go too fast, you're doing something wrong. If the line is not coming out as in contrast, that means your tempo is wrong. It's too fast. Usually it's too fast. I never seen a student is too slow. If a student wiggle too slow, that dude is very fast learner. I never seen, after 4.5 years of my teaching experience, I never seen a student, when I teach them wiggle, they wiggle slow. They always wiggle at least 200 and 250 beats per second, which is wrong. You only need 160 or 170 beats per second to wiggle. And I always count on my wiggle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just now, I believe I just wiggle 6 times. Never go more than that. If you go more than that, it will be less contrast. It will be very cloudy. So 6 to 7 times is just a nice number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Depends on how big is your cup. For instance, that one I poured, it was, I believe it's 6 ounce, 174 ml from IKEA. So if you have a bigger one, you can wiggle longer. You can wiggle 8 times, 9 times. If you have this IKEA 6 ounce cup, then probably you can wiggle 6 times. This one probably you can wiggle 8 to 9 times. Yeah, I might be wrong, but I never pour with this one. I have not poured with this one yet. Cool. So we talk about tempo. We talk about the distance between the spouts and the coffee surface. And now we talk about what's the width that you're supposed to wiggle. What's the width that you're supposed to wiggle? I always wiggle with minimum gesture. You can see I wiggle, but say pay attention over here. It's very minimal. Very, very minimal. Take a look at this one. Yeah, pay attention over here. Instead, do not pay attention over here. Pay attention over here. I move just a little bit only. If I move over here, 0.5 cm is equivalent over here, 1 cm. You got me?
Yeah.
You get me? So most of people, they will just move like this. How many cm is this?
Yeah. I also noticed you move your whole arm, your whole so you're pivoting from your elbow.
Yep.
So
yeah.
I used to do from my wrist a lot, and I found exactly the same. I was doing too fast, and I had not as much control. But when I move like this with my whole arm, much more control.
Yeah. And I tried those before. I tried wiggle with just my fingers. It doesn't work. I tried with just my wrist. It's too stiff. So right now I'm practicing with my whole arm with the support of my wrist. I'm exaggerating my my gesture actually, right? So it's just a little bit, but the whole thing is moving. with the wrist and the arm.
Okay.
So it's yeah, it's everything. So you have to move like octopus. You know when octopus swims smoothly, right? Smooth. You never seen octopus swims like this. If the octopus swim like this, the whole thing will just submerge and die in natural cause. So if you have a smooth gesture, you get it done. If you move like a robot, you can't get it done. Now, there are people that asking, hey, how come I'm not as smooth as you? I'm not as smooth as a lot of people. I try so hard. I try very hard. There's one more. It's because you're gripping the handle too hard. When you're gripping the handle too hard, you're putting a lot of tension and pressure over here. When you're putting a lot of tension and pressure over here, your whole arm is stiff. When your whole arm is stiff, you can't wiggle. That's why making coffee, you have to be calm. Calm and mindful and relax. That's the key point number one. If you are in tension, if you are in anxiety, you better don't make coffee because coffee tastes bitter, the coffee will taste bad, latte will taste messed up. You will mess up your day. You will have a very frustrating day. Yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah. So if now I have a thing, I have a cure for people like that. Usually it's men. Ladies will not have this problem that is too stiff. No. Usually it's men with above 30s. So I have this solution, very simple. You just need to hold this and grip as hard, the empty one. I'm talking the empty one, and grip as hard as you can. The longest is better. If you can grip this hard over here, very hard, until you are putting hurt on your fingers, it's good. Go and hold it the longest that you can. If you can 30 minutes, if you can 40 minutes, most people will not last 2 minutes. Now, next thing, you pour in milk, try to pour coffee, you will not have that problem anymore. Guarantee you. Okay? If you have a very stiff arm, you always complain that you can't do this, you can't do that, grab an empty milk pitcher, grip as hard as you could, the longest that you could. If you can grip it 10 minutes, go ahead, break the record, and 15 minutes, make it. And then when you're done, put down and pour in some steamed milk and pour whatever pattern that you want. Guarantee you, your stiffness will go away because you already applied it prior you pouring. Your stiffness will just walk away from you. Okay? Yeah, I taught this through a lot of men. A lot of men, they have this problem, especially 30s and above, 40s, 50s, 60s. They have these relative issues that they can't hold it calmly. They can't hold the pitcher calmly. They always hold the pitcher. Oh, I can't raise up my arm. I can't this, I can't that. I ask them, go stand aside and hold the pitcher as hard as you could. The harder is better until your turn, and always keep an eye on him. When he tries to lose grip, I will just point at him. Hey, how come you lose grip? Go ahead, keep on holding it. Until his turn, it's the real story. And so it happens so many times. It happened at least more than 20 times. Until he's done, I guarantee you, he can pull a hardship. And he was so happy. Usually men are very happy and oh, it's like the curse has been lifted.
That's a cool story, Janice.
yeah, it's true. And it works. 100% works for me. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Do we have question, Paul?
Yeah, we have a few.
Okay.
Someone's saying when they do the wiggle, they find it hard to keep the shape in the middle, in the center. It either goes too far to the left or too far to the right. So any tips for him? Is Vincent?
Of course, we're gonna pour wiggle like this. Let's say from the side view, it will be around 4 cm away from the lip, 4 cm away from the lip, 4 cm away from the lip, around like this. Then you start wiggle and move forward. Top view, it will be like this. So that means the tip, it's facing center. And I believe most people, they have off center, that means it's pouring like this. Because the way they posture their arms is wrong.
Yeah, I have this problem sometimes.
Yeah, it's very hard for us to analyze on such crucial moment before we pour. Very hard, it's extremely difficult. You just need to set the right mindset before you pour. You tell yourself in your mind that I have to pour symmetrical latte art. Everything's just automatically adjusted. Just remind yourself before you pour out that I have to pour a symmetrical latte art. And everything will just according to your hand, your left hand, your right hand will just move accordingly to the symmetrical way. Just remember that. Okay? Cool.
Yeah. And then, I think John was asking, he noticed you split the shape. I think he was referring when you were pulling the heart. You were drawing it out very slowly.
Yep.
Now, is that a trick or is that done on purpose or something?
Does he mean the heart shape on top?
Yeah, I think it was when you did the winged heart, as you were pulling through. I think he's referring to like maybe halfway or 2/3 of the way through. You paused a little bit before you finished. So is that a trick for your framing or?
Got you. My speed of cutting through, right, will dictate by the amount of how much of the milk has been filled. Okay. Let's say I'm trying to do a heart shape on top when it's 95% filled. Let's say. Obviously, I have to lift up and cut fast because or else it always spilled. It's spilled, right? Yeah. So let's say I've done my job, everything done, lifting up and cutting through, let's say 90%. Plenty of time, plenty of more volume to fill up. So I'll just lift up and keep on pouring and move forward and fill up the cup. Because customer paid a full cup of coffee.
Yes.
I will get the job done. I don't want to have a customer feel cheated that I'm paying full price, but you're getting me in 90% coffee. It's not fair, right? So that's the thing. So I hope I did answer the question. Anything else? There's any more questions?
Joey Wong, I think she's just put in a question. Is there any difference in the way you holding the jug between pouring a tulip and a wiggle type latte art? So is there any difference in where you hold it?
Yeah. For classic, I consider all these classic latte arts, as in heart shape, tulip, wing heart, rosetta. These are classics. There's no difference. I always hold like this. Now, if let's say I want to make some complex latte art, for instance, triple rosetta, 4 rosettas, 5 rosettas, or whatever some people consider a seahorse complex latte art, what else? A unicorn a complex latte art, right? So for those type of latte art, I will hold like this. With the palm touching here. So I get, first of all, you need a very sharp, very sharp spout feature. decent can get this done. Decent teachers can get this done, and it's very light as well, 600 ml. So if like, let's say I want to pour a triple Rosetta, I would pour like this, holding down like this, because it's easier for me to wiggle fast. In compare of this one, is slightly a little bit heavier, and it's broader. It's not meant for pouring fast. It's not meant for pouring slow. It's meant for pouring fast. I can wiggle a bit slower, and always wiggle like this is nicer. Personal preference. I tried a lot of time. I tried to pour a triple Rosetta of this one. I would say 80% of time I fail. I don't feel comfortable of pouring triple Rosetta with this one. I try so hard. I try to convince myself it's not the posture that I'm holding. I try to convince myself. But when I try the different style, it just lay out miraculously. That's telling me it does matter on the way we hold picture. Yeah, it does. It does matter on the way we hold the picture.
So I guess this is to do, I don't know how to say, if we're saying it's depending on the spout, to a certain extent how you hold. But what I'm trying to get into is what is happening to the milk inside the jug, the different ways we hold it. So when we wrap around over the edge, does it mean that we can do a slower wiggle?
Yeah. We wiggle slower.
Yeah. So when we have it upright with the more pointy, it's a faster one, because it can hold, it can take the faster wiggle, is what we're saying.
That's correct. Yeah, because I feel like if I hold this way, I feel like the whole hand is wrapping up the whole picture, because my whole palm is laying over here, and I feel like much more in control. I feel like it's much more uniform into my body. But I can't really wiggle slower. I have to train.
Yes, yeah.
And the way I hold this is a little bit troublesome. If let's say I put this on the table, I have to use another hand, hold this up, and hold like this. Or else, if let's say this is counter, I have to lower down my whole body and to go down just to catch this thing correctly. In compare, if I wrap around in any angle, I can just wrap it. High, low, on the floor, on the ceiling, I just wrap it like this. Same. But let's say I put this on the counter, I want to hold it like this. I have the whole body to lower down just to catch this and hold it correctly. Or I have to use another hand, bring it up to catch it first. So I have to, another hand, go and grab another cup, start pouring. Consumes time. Talk about efficiency.
Yeah, so I've recently been experimenting with a lot of different holding of the hands. A lot of my milk steaming experience was with non-spouted. So I've always used one technique, and it was, very, very much like holding it like this with two fingers. But I found that when I was pouring with a spout, it was pouring to inwards a lot because of the way, obviously, my thumb is shorter than my index finger. So it was pouring more towards my body.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I found that holding the jugs differently does affect the way the milk pours and wiggles out. But I didn't really put the two together. Why? I actually thought it was my own bad technique. I didn't really think about the actual spout and how it was relating with the way I was holding. So that was really interesting, Dennis.
Yeah. Everything I did, there's a reason behind. And I think right now what I'm doing is most efficient for me. You can find yourself. Okay, if you have a better, if you have more efficient, go ahead. But for me right now, I found what I'm doing right now is most efficient. Yeah, everything came through a very deep thought, because everything I have done over here, I get questioned a lot. Questions from students. I have to answer them. I cannot answer, I just feel like that. I just feel like this. I just feel like today is that this is the mood. I can't do that. It's not convincing. It's not a teacher. It's not like a teacher.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this would explain a lot to why certain jugs will work with certain people with the way they pour, especially and maybe, for example, now the way they hold the milk jug will dictate to a certain point how well it will be useful to them. And I guess what you're saying is the different type of pours as well. The more complex, the more sharper the spout. So yeah, this is really interesting, and I think what I learned most was the wiggle and the distance. I always thought the distance was the same.
No.
Like get as close as possible, and you know. So I think that was something that I thought was very insightful.
I did a lot of research myself.
Yeah.
I did research myself. Why is it I'm doing very good job on tulip, but why my Rosetta look like a tulip?
Yeah.
So I've been through that as well. I've been through all this, and I'm trying to ask my colleagues that time, and they all haven't no idea. You have to find out yourself. So yeah, that's why I came to this, and because I'm responsible to students that paid me to teach them, and I have to get the answers. I have to get the answers ready. Yeah. So that's the whole point. Yeah. So do we have any more questions before we move forward?
No, I think we can move on to what we've got planned next.
Yeah. So just now I mentioned about the distance. I mentioned about the metronome. I mentioned about the width of the wiggle. Yeah. Just bear in your mind, you do not wiggle a lot of width. You just wiggle, if you look over here, a little bit. Just a little bit only. And you have to pour fast. The flow rate has to be fast. If let's say it's slow, the contrast will not be there. The contrast will be mixing a lot of layers into together because it's not fast enough to overlay the wing. Yeah, if you are slow, you're pouring slow. That means the weak, the what do you call that? The strength is weak. So that means the strength, when the strength is weak, that means it have no contrast. It will not generate layers of contrast of lines. To say, yeah. So I have to pour fast. And another thing that you can practice all this with water. I would say practice all this with water before you proceed to your next cup of coffee. Let's say you practice on a wiggle hard, but don't go jump straight into the and make coffee and then trying to be disappointed. Go and practice with water and cup and milk jug. Practice water first. It'd be much more easier when you have milk and espresso. So do not jump into straight down into the milk and espresso. That's very dangerous if you care about latte art. So do it with the water first. And that is most people will teach you, do it with water first, right? So for my way, I have one more thing for you to practice. This will depend on how serious is your eager to perfect the wing heart, to perfect a wiggle. You have to write down step by step in terms of the width, in terms of the tempo, in terms of the flow, in terms of the distance between the spout and the coffee surface. You write down step by step. Then 10 times is a good number. Yeah. So that's why my students, they have a book like this, full of words, writings, all about steps. If let's say they want to make today, I'm going to teach a wiggle, I'll make sure they write 20 times before they start doing it. Water. After water, it's their turn, it's their time to show off. So make sure you write down the step by step in every technical detail. What do I mean by that? First, you pour the milk with, let's say, 40% fuel. You write it down. What's the second step? Second step, I will do the landing from 2 cm from the cup lip. Okay, 2 cm for cup lip, I will write down. Third step, what is it? The distance between the spout and the surface is 0.5 cm. Okay, write it down, 0.5 cm. Then what is the next step? The tempo of the wiggling is around 165 BPM. Write it down. Step by step. I tell you this is a miracle. On the first few cups, get the pour and wing hard. This is really how I teach. And if let's say you want to torture yourself in any mistakes that you make, write down in the book as well. And I do not repeat this mistake. And you will not repeat the mistakes. So my advice to you, buy a notebook, buy a pen, few pens, in fact. Write down your technical detail, practice water, try it, and then only you see your result. And buy a camera holder that you can record yourself, analyze yourself what mistakes have gone wrong. Yep.
Sounds good. I like it.
Yeah. So that's a very deep of understanding on Vigo. That's how I understand on this pouring technique. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. Trust me. After I teach you this, you will prepare yourself to fail for the next 3 months or so or more. There's no shortcut. Do not expect after you learn from here, immediately you get for whatever things that you want, you wish to. There's no shortcut. Yeah, it's all about practice. It's all about daily routine.
Yeah, that's right. Have you ever tried the? Obviously, we spend a lot of time in a lot of espresso bars, and we can't just use the milk all the time and all the coffee because obviously it's expensive, and we probably get told off by the owners. But we used to use the leftover milk, from leftover watery milk from the milk jugs. Use that as a little shot base and put some cinnamon. And then we use the watery milk in the jug to pour out, and we can still get practice our patterns that way. It was very cheap way, and you're still on the bar, right? So I thought that was a very cool way we used to practice back in the day.
Yeah, that's one thing. If you want to go much more cheaper, I advise you all to get a rose syrup that people using the rose syrup liquid to make some rose, rose drinks and rose latte or something like that. So you can buy that. It's very cheap. It's around Malaysian ringgit is around 250, then it's around 300 ml. That one you can mix with a little bit water because it's very concentrated. It's very concentrated with sugar, and mix a little bit water to make it like almost seems like texture like espresso.
So the thickness is similar, right?
Yeah, cinnamon or cocoa powder.
Yeah, cocoa powder.
Put some cocoa powder on top. Yeah. So and then you can go with milk, or you can go with there's a product called Latte liquid. It's just pop 2 drops of liquid and then mix with chill water. Then just steam. You pour just like a milk, but a little bit watery. Yeah, Latte liquid. Yeah. So that small little bottle is 150 ml. That costs around, I think it's around 10 USD or 15 USD.
What's this liquid called again?
Latte liquid.
Latte liquid.
Yeah, Latte liquid. I think this product is from Taiwan.
Right. I've never heard of it.
As well. E-commerce, but it's not for consuming. It's for practice of latte art. It's a little bit watery. You need to pump. If you feel like a bit watery, you need to pump few more pumps. So they claim that 150 ml it's equivalent to, I don't know, like 20 over liters of milk.
Oh wow! So you get a good little run of practices with it with one bottle.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not so used to it because it's if you want to pour some tulip heart shape rosetta, it's nice, but
Yeah.
I feel like a little bit watery to me, a little bit watery. But you can just adjust the recipe yourself. Yep.
Well,
So,
that's it.
Yep. So I think I'm done over here. We have question or we don't?
No, I think it's gone pretty quiet. So.
Oh, they're all sleeping, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
there's one just popped through. So maybe this one, the last few. If anyone else wants to ask any more, just ask away. We'll fit them in. But there's chance for the microphone to dissipate or lose consistency when pouring the milk to a bigger milk jug. So I guess no. Okay.
No, the short answer is no. You have a little bit loss of temperature, just a little bit minor. And the reason why you're asking this, because I say no, is because I do this immediately. That's my usual practice. After I steam, I pour it in, I pour out the latte art immediately. No waiting time. There's no waiting time. There's no rest. So everything has to be ready. The coffee has to be ready. Everything pitcher is ready. Pour it in, transfer, and pour it out. So there's no loss of microphone.
I'd have to agree with that. And I had noticed the temperature thing, but I got a little trick that when I heat up my cup, before my shot, I put that hot water in my milk jug, the big one, and then heats up a little bit. I don't notice the temperature difference. So yeah, that's quite cool.
Some people, they just use, they just steam a little bit into their empty milk jug before they transfer.
Yes.
I don't do that. I just, if you think that you lost 1 or 2 degrees Celsius of the temperature, just next time you just steam a bit extra hot, 1 to 2 degrees Celsius. So you just prevent that from loss. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Camera phone stand, I think we can get it from e-commerce store like Shopee and Lazada and get it. Yeah. And style. Yeah. You can, what I'm using right now, it's also a phone arm. You can support an iPad, you can support tablet, you can support phone as well. It's very cheap, around, I think around 25 ringgit Malaysia. Yeah. You can get it from Shopee or Lazada. Yeah. So anything else? It's a long day today, Paul. Thanks for
no, it's okay. It's so good.
Me.
It's a pleasure. Anytime.
So let's say there's nothing from the audience, and then we shall end the session. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for your time, Paul. Have a nice
Sunday.
You
too, Dennis. Always great.
Right.
And thanks everyone for showing up. All right.
Bye-bye.
Remember to check Dennis out on his Instagram and social media stuff. And us. Bye-bye.
All right.